Guitar making, less a profession than a calling, can become, like music itself, addictive. And that's exactly as it should be. Guitar makers crave a positive thing, after all, something that has little to do with more, and everything to do with better, better, better. They say never meet your heroes, and for a long time now, I've been watching Nik Huber, checking out, looking at the guitars, lusting after them in magazines. This Krautster II came up on Facebook Marketplace, and in a moment of sheer fiscal irresponsibility, I said, oh my God, I'm going to buy myself this guitar. Now I'm in the process of going through and playing as many Les Paul Junior, Les Paul Special type instruments as humanly possible, because I want to build the best one of those that I possibly can for myself, and also potentially as something that we put into production at Crimson Guitars. This just made sense. I don't love it. I don't love it. I don't quite know why. It may well be the law of diminishing returns. This is a, I think, retail £3,000, £3,500 guitar, and I play a lot of very, very, very nice guitars. You've got the custom pickups, you've got a well-dressed fretboard, you've got all of the same ingredients, they're just a little bit better. I tried. I kept this guitar for 6-8 months, played it almost every single day, and I like the neck. It's slightly chunky, slightly V. This guitar is currently on Daily Guitar Drawer. Profits from this are going to go and help build Dorset Guitar Museum. Here is how much of a fan of these things I am. I've basically stolen his neck joint, this all-access thing, because I love it so much. Part of it is the packaging. Part of it is this incredible pamphlet, which not only gives you information about the guitar and a certificate, etc., but it also very carefully details the other models in the range, because people who buy these sorts of instruments tend to not buy one. I mean, it's gorgeous. So this particular instrument was made in 2015, 2014. Assembled in 2014, so it is not quite 10 years old, and obviously in 10 years a lot can happen with how somebody builds an instrument and all of that. Things develop. Look at just the quality of the package, the stuff that comes with it. It shouldn't make much of a difference, but it does. Nails the sound and sheer power of raw music. And if this sounds like an advert, that's kind of because it is. I'm transitioning. You guys have just potentially watched a video of me talking about this sort of stuff. I'm transitioning to a point where, as well as investigating guitars, I am interested in promoting other builders. I'm interested in promoting Luthier in general rather than just my own company. I'm going to be talking with collectors and with dealers and with people who have interesting things that should be documented. So I've never spoken to Nik Huber, nor the company, nor, I mean, they don't know I'm doing this. This isn't me shilling for Daily Guitar Drawer and the Dorset Guitar Museum or anything. This is a genuine, and will always be a genuine look at what they do and what I would do differently and why. So teaching Luthier by exploring other builders. My initial training was violin making, etc. But I studied what other builders were doing pre-YouTube, pre all of this Instagram, etc. By reading guitar magazines and the reviews of the guitars, where the reviewer would say, oh my gosh, they've just inlaid the scratch plate for this Strat style guitar so that it's level with the top, it's revolutionary, etc. When I took this out of the case, the first thing that I noticed that immediately just disappointed me, and I'm going to start with the negative. I love a lot of things about this, but the immediate thing that disappointed me was this finish. What they've done is they've taken a standard gloss poly, I think, done the whole guitar, and then literally just hit it with 800 grit or 1200 grit, wet and dry. You can see dimpling where it's sunk into the grain, which is fine. I mean, it's part of the process and part of the thing, and it's fine. But seeing actual tool marks on the finish, it immediately, I didn't jibe with this choice straight away. What makes a gloss lacquer is the actual makeup of the lacquer. It's not how you buff it or how you work with things. Chemically, it is a different thing. A satin lacquer is supposed to be a satin lacquer. Okay, so for example, with a gloss lacquer where you've done something like this, as you play it over the years, it will, just through use, buff up in certain areas and look, you know, messy and not great. Now, the aged nickel cover, for example, on the pickup, and the bridge there, the stop tail, just impeccable, lovely. The pickup surround looks good. The finishing on the P90 looks great. Same thing with the scratch guard. Actually, it looks natural. Actually, that's the problem. The finish on the top there doesn't look natural. Hell, I'm half hoping that somebody's going to, in the comments, tell me that that was done by somebody afterwards. Now here, look at this. We've got a lovely, solid, chunky jack plate. Attention to detail. The socket itself is only just poking out. That is good. Look at how the jack plate almost perfectly matches that curve. These things don't come curved for the most part. They come, you know, flat, and you've got to curve them. This is well done, and it's an attention to detail that I like. Look at how the fretboard is rolled over. It feels so comfortable to play. Like, genuinely very, very, very well done. Looking down the center of the neck, the dots are within the fact that the strings are different thicknesses. It looks slightly off, but that's just the thicknesses of the strings. The fretwork, impeccable. The frets, amazing. It's a compound radius, which is very, very, very comfortable. This is a bone nut. So many guitars are shipped with a sharp edge at this front part, and it eats into your hand. It's not comfortable. You don't spend a huge amount of time ramming all the way up, but Huber and his team have perfectly rounded over the ends of this nut, and not many people realize that you can buff bone up just on a buffing wheel, and they've done this. They've taken it and they've really lavished care and attention on rounding those edges over. What they haven't done, though, is the same thing on the side of the headstock. It is best practice to round over the edges of your headstock. If you've got a right angle there, that is where your finish is going to chip off and break. Well, you know. You're watching this because you've got guitars. The headstock is where you dent things, you ding things. It gets bumped, it gets knocked. You stab your bass player in the face. By mistake. Honest, it was a mistake. The angle at the end of the headstock and there, that is the cutting angle that this neck was on when it was on the CNC machine. I find it very attractive. I also love headstocks that are thinner at the end. Nik is obviously very heavily PRS based. This is evidenced by the scale length, among other things. Turns out I'm not a fan of that scale length. But the logo here it's the same process. And we're looking at this going, oh wow, that's a really crisp, really clean, metallic signature logo. I'm looking at it and saying, yeah, it's crisp, it's clean. It's actually very, very cheap and easy to do. It's literally just a little bit of vinyl cut on a machine and put on using heat or something like that. You can buy one of those machines at a hobby craft or something like that for a few £100 and make logos like this for yourself. Hell, I've done it now because it's the easiest way that I can make logos for the students in our guitar building school at Crimson. It's quick, it's easy, and it looks crisp and clean and professional. This is an elegant, cheap, efficient solution to the problem that is putting logos on guitars. Here you can see my favorite thing, this neck joint. First of all, the neck is really chunky. It goes very deep into the body, and yeah, I like that. You're not gonna, because of this type of cutaway, you're not gonna have the same type of neck joint that you get on a on the sort of Gibson Les Paul Juniors, etc. But it does work. It's elegant. So this is a guitar that's been played and loved and used. Mahogany body, lightweight mahogany body. It is delicious, and you do have a proper satin finish on the back here. You can see the neck, where the neck has basically become buffed up through use and through time. This scoop, this shape, I've used this myself. I love this. I love the access. I'm not so much of a fan of how deep he goes. So there's actually a negative. You've got the shape of your neck going down, and then it scoops in further. Personally, when I do this, I keep the shape, and I don't have that the scoop going in. I don't know if you can see what I'm talking about. There you go. But it works very well. It's very, very comfortable. It gives you all the access you need. This bit is very, very thin. There's my cables. This bit is very thin, but you know, it's more than enough support. Again, we've got sharp edges. That there, you don't really feel it, but this, that corner, and that corner, I just think there's a little bit too much reliance on the machines here, and a little bit more care on the final rounding over of things. Fairly standard, soldered together, shielded, and the back of the cavity has copper shielding on it in two pieces. I do wonder if the shielding is if the glue used to hold that tape down is conductive, because if not, the two pieces aren't necessarily going to be contiguous. Now, I am not a fan of the fact that we've got two different sized screws. These are far larger than the ones there. It's not particularly important, and I'm probably being fairly nitpicky, but they're both visible on that face, and personally I prefer it if they were the same size. There we go. Same thing, shielded, of course. It was never burnished down properly. And we've got a fairly... Actually, this is not as impeccable as I thought. That is it's not a particularly attractive bit of soldering. This is a piece of electrical tape. I hope that that's been done after the fact. You know, orange drop cap, far larger than needs to be. We've got a little tone circuit on there, or a treble bleed, which is cool. Obviously push pull, etc. So it seems when opening up that it's actually fairly boring, fairly prosaic in there. Sounds great. Fantastic pickups, great bridge, very, very, very high quality wood, strap locks, etc. The electronics, fairly meh. We're using 50s technology on this stuff, so what else can you do? An oil and paper cap could be quite nice. Now, I am not going to do a plugged-in demo. It wouldn't do the guitar any favors right now. Slice my thumb open, and I don't have the recording set up proper. It has this insane just sustain. And this is my fingers. I'm not hitting with a plectrum. I truly believe that the acoustic response of a guitar, even an electric guitar, comes through. It's part of the equation. Obviously, pickups are a thing. The longevity of the notes, the tack of the notes, that is a physical property of the guitar, and that comes through the amplifier up until the point where you're shoving it through about 14 million pedals, etc. But to have a starting point this incredible makes a huge difference. Humbucker with P90, one of my favorite combinations. The only thing that would make it better for me is the addition of a piezo in there. Delicious. It is an impeccably made guitar. It is just amazing. It feels great. It sustains well. It's got innovative features. It's got premium woods. I'm not a fan of the finish. That might not bother you quite as much as it does me. And I just don't love it. And I still don't know why. Anyway, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you've had hands on other Huber instruments. And yeah, if you want to see more of this sort of content, tell me what I've done wrong. Tell me what I've done right. I prefer the latter, but you know, I'll take the former if it helps me improve what we're doing. Most importantly, hey, thanks for watching. Click like, subscribe, be cool. Goodbye. Goodbye. Somebody else will love you, of that I'm sure.